I often say, look, if you want to know what a refugee looks like, pick up a mirror. I mean, refugees are doctors, they're lawyers, they're teachers, they're IT people, they're people who run coffee shops, they're journalists. And they have been forced. This is not a choice that anybody makes. Nobody chooses to be a refugee. Nobody chooses to abandon their home, their community, their friends, their roots, and leave and become a burden on a host nation. But the fact is that refugees are cornered into these choices by persecution, by abuse, by the threat of violence, by existential fear, and the choice to return home for many of them has been taken from them. Every refugee wants to go home. This is one of the common things that I run into, no matter where I speak to refugees or what country they're from. A Syrian refugee in June told me quite beautifully, he said, look, even heaven is not home. And so there's a deep desire to return home, but that choice has been taken. And the choice to leave home for refugees is never easy. It's always agonizing, and it's always last resort. When I was in Lebanon and in Sicily this past June and speaking with refugees, my thought was always, I wish that somehow the world could be collected into a small space and to be placed next to me so that they could hear these stories that I am hearing, because anybody who heard these stories could only walk away with a sense of compassion, empathy, and solidarity with the things that these people have faced. But it really is based on a lot of misunderstandings and lack of information, and also a disconnect between headlines and actual human stories. That's why I think, given the fact that there's sort of prevalent misconceptions about refugees, misunderstandings about who they are, it's so important that for me, as a writer, to keep telling stories of refugees and to keep trying to bring a human dimension to the headlines that we see.